The wind howls across the stones of the Great Wall, carrying with it the sound of drums that have not been heard for centuries. Mist rolls over the ancient towers, and from the shadows comes a whisper: the war was never over. It was only waiting. The trailer begins with silence, and eerie, heavy silence. Slowly, the screen fades in on a wide aerial view of the Great Wall of China. The stones look worn, cracked, and ancient, but still standing strong against the vast horizon. Mist moves like ghosts across its length. The atmosphere is unsettling, as though the wall itself remembers a story too terrifying to tell. The camera glides over the crumbling battlements, and we hear faint echoes, ghostly sounds of old battles, screams, and roars haunting memories buried in stone. Suddenly, a single deep drumbeat shakes the silence. Another follows, then another. The screen cuts to black for a moment, only the drum echoing in darkness. A voiceover begins, deep and steady, carrying the weight of prophecy. For generations, the wall has stood, a shield between mankind and the darkness beyond. As the narration continues, the visuals shift. We see close-up shots of cracks forming along the stones of the wall. Dust trickles down, and the ground beneath begins to tremble. In the distance, thunder rumbles, not from the sky, but from deep underground. The voiceover continues, but what was once sealed does not remain buried forever. The screen bursts into movement. A violent quake splits open a section of earth just beyond the wall. Bright, unnatural light floods out from the fissure, casting an eerie glow across the landscape. Out of the crack comes a low growl, more terrifying than any animal sound. The ground shakes again. Soldiers scramble to their posts, their armor clanking as they rush up the watchtowers. Eyes wide with fear, the camera cuts to a familiar figure, William Garin. Played by Matt Damon, his hair is longer, his face older, marked with the scars of battles long past. He stands at the edge of the wall, staring into the mist, his expression grim. The weight of old memories flashes in his eyes. A soft voice whispers behind him, Lin Mei, played by Jing Tian. She steps forward, her armor gleaming even in the pale light of dawn. She speaks quietly, almost to herself. We swore we would never see this again. The music begins to rise, a slow, pulsing rhythm of strings and drums. The camera pans to show the soldiers at the ready, bows drawn, eyes scanning the shadows. Then silence, total silence. Not even the wind moves. A close-up of Damon's face reveals the tension, his jaw tight, his breath steadying. Lin Mei grips her spear, her knuckles white, and then chaos. From the fissure erupts a swarm of movement, shapes darting too fast to see clearly. Roars fill the air. The soldiers release their arrows in unison, fiery streaks of light cutting through the mist. The arrows slam into the darkness, and for a moment nothing, but then glowing eyes pierce the smoke. Dozens, then hundreds. A chilling voiceover cuts through. They have changed. The visuals now come in quick flashes. Beasts unlike any seen before, larger, faster, with armored scales that shimmer in unnatural colors burst through the smoke. Soldiers scream as they crash into the wall's defenses. Arrows bounce harmlessly off their hides. Massive claws strike stone, ripping chunks from the battlements. The camera cuts to a massive creature towering above the rest, its head crowned with jagged spikes, its roar shaking the night sky. Damon shouts over the noise, "Hold the line!" His voice is raw, commanding, but behind it lies desperation. Lin Mei leaps into battle, her spear striking with deadly precision, but even her skill struggles against the new enemy. The monsters are more organized, more intelligent, fighting with a frightening coordination. The music surges, faster and louder, building into a storm of sound. We see fire weapons ignite, walls of flame rising to meet the creatures. Soldiers throw explosives, lighting up the night with thunderous bursts. Yet the beasts push forward, unstoppable. Sparks rain down as claws strike steel. Screams echo across the battlefield. The section closes on a slow-motion shot. Damon and Jing Tian standing side by side, weapons raised, their eyes burning with determination. Behind them, the wall shakes under the assault, stones cracking, towers crumbling. The voiceover returns, quieter this time, filled with dread. The wall has stood for centuries, but this time it may fall. The screen cuts to black, the sound of drums pounding like a heartbeat, leaving the audience with the sense that something far more terrifying is yet to come. Asterisk. The screen fades back from black with a distant shot of the Great Wall at dawn. The battlefield is covered in smoke and ash. Broken weapons, shattered shields, and bloodstains stretch across the stone. The wall, though still standing, looks scarred and weak. The once unshakable symbol of defense now trembles with the weight of a new war. A voiceover begins, softer than before, almost mournful. The wall was never just stone. It was trust, it was unity, and without it, mankind is nothing. The camera moves inside a war tent. Flickering lanterns cast shadows on the worn faces of commanders. Maps are spread across the table, marked with red ink where the monsters have broken through. Lin Mei stands at the head of the table, her armor dented, her face streaked with dirt. She slams a hand down on the map, her voice fierce. They are not the beasts we once fought. They learn, they adapt. And if we do not, the wall will fall within days. Her words hang heavy in the silence. The commanders exchange uneasy glances. The camera shifts to William Garin, who leans against the wooden post, his eyes locked on the map. His voice is low, but filled with resolve. This is not just about the wall. If they break through, there's no stopping them. The world beyond. These stones has no defenses. No armies, nothing to hold them back. The music builds with tension, a steady beat like a war drum. Quick flashes show the creatures in the wild beyond the wall, stalking through forests, tearing through villages, leaving nothing but fire in their wake. The beasts are more cunning than ever, moving in coordinated packs, using the shadows as their weapon. One terrifying shot shows a massive beast climbing the side of a mountain. Its claws digging deep into the stone, roaring into the dawn. Back in the war tent, a young soldier bursts in, out of breath, eyes wide with fear. They're regrouping, he gasps, but it's not just them. There's something leading them. The camera cuts sharply to the battlefield, again thick fog rolling in, torches barely cutting through the darkness. A low, thunderous growl shakes the ground. From the mist, a silhouette appears. A massive figure, larger than any Tao Tei before, steps forward. Its body is covered in armored scales that glimmer like molten rock. Its eyes glow a deep, unnatural red. And behind it, the other beasts wait still, patient, disciplined. The screen cuts rapidly between faces. Lin Mei's shock, Garin's grim acceptance, soldiers gripping their weapons tighter. The voiceover returns, this time from Garin himself. It's not a swarm anymore, it's an army. The music explodes into a violent rhythm, matching the chaos of the next scenes. Soldiers line the walls with new weapons, flamethrowers, giant crossbows, explosives. Engineers scramble to reinforce the battlements with steel plates. The camera pans across their faces, young men and women, terrified but determined, standing shoulder to shoulder. Then, the attack begins. The beasts charge, but this time it's not wild chaos, it's coordinated war. They climb in formation, shielded by their armored leader. Their roars are timed, almost like signals to one another. The soldiers release everything: fire, arrows, explosives, but the monsters adapt, dodging, regrouping, pressing forward with terrifying intelligence. In the midst of the chaos, Garin and Lin Mei fight side by side. The camera slows as Damon fires explosive arrows into the heart of the swarm, the blasts lighting up the night sky. Jing Tian's spear dances like lightning, cutting down any beast that dares to climb the wall. Sweat and blood streak their faces, but their resolve never falters. Then, a gut punch moment. The armored leader smashes through a section of the wall with a single blow, sending soldiers flying. The stones crumble, dust choking the air. The camera follows the collapse in slow motion, the wall, the great protector of mankind, breaking. Apart under the force of this new enemy, a haunting silence follows, only the sound of heavy breathing and distant growls. Lin Mei drops to her knees, gripping the ground as if trying to hold the wall together with her hands. Garin pulls her back. To her feet, his voice steady, almost defiant. We don't stop fighting. Not now, not ever. The section ends with a wide shot of the wall in flames, the beasts pouring through the breach like a black tide. Above them, the monstrous leader lets out a roar that shakes the heavens. The screen cuts to black, the echo of the roar fading. Into silence, leaving only the chilling words on screen. The wall has cracked, but the war has only begun. Asterisk, the screen opens on silence. The battlefield is empty now, lit only by dying fires and drifting embers. Smoke curls into the night sky, painting it red against the stars. The Great Wall, once a symbol of pride and strength, stands fractured, scarred by battle, sections crumbling into ruin. The sound of distant cries breaks through, soldiers tending to the wounded, carrying the fallen, and whispering prayers to the dead. The camera moves slowly through the wreckage. A broken helmet lies in the dust. A child's toy, bloodstained, caught among the rubble of a burned-out village. The weight of loss lingers heavy in every frame. Over this, a soft voice begins. A narration from Lin Mei. Every stone of the wall was built with sacrifice. Every tower was paid for in blood. And tonight, the cost has never been greater. Inside a dimly lit chamber, the surviving commanders gather. Their faces are hollow, eyes sunken with exhaustion. Maps once filled with strategies are now marked with desperate notes arrows circling around the breach sections. Sketches of the monstrous leader that none of them know how to defeat. Tension fills the air. Some whisper of retreat, others of surrender. A young soldier trembles as he speaks. We cannot win. These walls cannot hold. We should flee, save who we can. His words echo in the silence, but Lin Mei's voice cuts through, sharp and unyielding. If we run, there will be no world left to run to. The camera shifts to Garin, sitting apart from the others, sharpening an arrow. His hands tremble slightly, but his eyes burn with determination. He speaks, quietly, more to himself than anyone else. They're not here to take the wall. They're here to take everything. His words hang in the air, a grim reminder of what's at stake. The music begins to rise, slow. Sorrowful strings that carry the weight of sacrifice. The scene shifts to montages of the soldiers preparing. Families say their goodbyes through tears. Warriors stand in the shadows, carving names into their weapons, whispering promises to loved ones. One soldier kneels before the ashes of a fallen comrade, tying his friend's scarf around his wrist as a final bond. These small moments of humanity echo louder than the roar of battle. Lin Mei walks alone across the wall, her spear in hand. The wind whips around her, carrying the ash and dust. She pauses, looking out over the horizon where the enemy gathers, countless glowing eyes waiting in the dark. For a moment, her face softens. She whispers under her breath, "Father, if you can see me now, I hope I am worthy of your name." A single tear falls, but she quickly steels herself, her grip tightening on the spear. Then, the revelation. The scholars, digging through ancient scrolls in the war archives, rush into the chamber with frantic urgency. They unroll a weathered manuscript, its ink faded but legible. It speaks of an ancient prophecy that the beasts are bound by a single force, a leader whose fall could scatter the swarm. The monstrous general is not just stronger, it is the heart of their army. Destroy it and the rest may falter. But the prophecy carries a warning. The wall will stand only by the blood of the brave. Victory demands sacrifice. The camera cuts sharply to Garin and Lin Mei. Their eyes meet across the chamber, understanding passing between them. They know what this means. To end this war, one of them may not return. The music swells, shifting from sorrow to determination. The soldiers rally once more, reforging their weapons, reinforcing the walls with steel and fire. Engineers unveil anew. War machine massive fire lances, catapults loaded with explosive barrels, and arrow storms powered by pulleys. Hope flickers in the darkness, fragile but alive. The next sequence explodes with energy, preparations for the final stand. Soldiers light torches along the wall, the flames stretching for miles like a river of fire. War horns echo through the mountains. Children are ushered into underground shelters while warriors take their places on the battlements. Amidst this, Garin walks through the ranks, his voice steady and resolute. This wall is not just stone. It is every life behind it, every child, every family, every soul who believes we will stand. And we will not break. The soldiers pound their weapons against the stone in unison. A thunderous rhythm of defiance. The section crescendos with a breathtaking shot. Lin Mei and Garin standing together atop the highest tower, flames burning. Behind them, the swarm of creatures stretching endlessly across the horizon. The monstrous leader steps forward, its armored body glistening in the firelight, its roar shaking the ground. The two heroes ready their weapons, the voiceover returns, whispered yet powerful, "The wall will not fall, not while we still stand." The screen cuts to black, leaving only the sound of the heartbeat like drums. Asterisk, the screen explodes back from black with fire. Torches burn along the great wall, turning night into a sea of flame. Drums thunder in the distance, their rhythm matching the pounding of war-ready hearts. The soldiers stand shoulder to shoulder, faces streaked with ash, sweat, and fear, but behind their fear is resolve. This is no longer just a wall of stone. It is a wall of people standing as one. The camera pulls back for a sweeping aerial shot, the great wall ablaze in preparation, a blazing scar across the earth. And beyond, the enemy stirs. A swarm of glowing eyes fills the darkness, stretching farther than sight can reach. Their roars echo like thunder rolling across the mountains. At their center, the monstrous leader steps forward, larger than all. Armored in jagged scales, its crown of spikes cutting through the smoke. It lifts its head to the sky and unleashes a roar so loud the very stones tremble. The music bursts alive, fierce drums, sharp strings, a rising war chant. The final battle has begun. The beasts surge forward like a black tide, their claws striking stone, their bodies crashing against the wall. Soldiers unleash everything. Flaming arrows streak into the night sky, raining down in waves. Catapults hurl barrels of fire that explode in bright blooms, tearing holes through the swarm. Crossbows fire volleys of bolts, lighting up the mist with sparks. For a moment, the wall holds, bathed in fire and defiance, but the leader commands. With a chilling bellow, the swarm changes tactics. They climb in formations, shielded by their armored hides. They use fallen beasts as bridges, creating paths over the defenses. The wall begins to crumble again, stones splitting under the relentless assault. The camera cuts to Garin, firing arrow after arrow, each explosion tearing through the front lines. Sweat drips into his eyes, his face grim but unbroken. Beside him, Lin Mei moves like a storm, her spear cutting, striking, whirling with precision. She leaps from the battlements, striking beasts mid-climb, kicking them back into the abyss. Her determination burns brighter than the flames themselves. Suddenly, the monstrous leader crashes into the battlefield, smashing through towers like they were made of clay. Its claws swipe entire squads aside, its roar drowning out even the drums. The soldiers falter, fear flooding their faces. The wall shakes as another breach opens, then silence. The music drops, replaced only by the sound of breathing. Garin and Lin Mei lock eyes across the chaos. They know this is the moment. Without hesitation, they rally the soldiers with one final cry. Garin, we cut off the head. Lin Mei, and the body dies. The soldiers roar in response, their voices rising above the battle. The music returns, louder, faster, a furious storm of drums and horns. The screen flashes with rapid cuts, fire weapons igniting, soldiers forming defensive lines, explosions, rocking the earth. Amid the chaos, Garin and Lin Mei charge toward the leader. The camera follows their desperate run. Beasts leap in their path, claws slashing, teeth snapping, but they fight as one. Garin's arrows blast through enemies at close range, clearing a path. Lin Mei's spear strikes with deadly accuracy, piercing throats and eyes, each move fueled by fury and courage. Together they climb the collapsing stones toward the towering monster. The music reaches its breaking point as they launch their final attack. Lin Mei strikes first, leaping high, her spear plunging into the creature's armored hide. Sparks fly as the weapon pierces deep. The beast roars, thrashing violently, nearly throwing her off. Garin takes aim, his last explosive arrow drawn. He steadies his breath, his eyes unflinching. In slow motion he releases, the arrow streaks through the night, glowing with fire. It strikes the creature's exposed chest where Lin Mei's spear has already weakened its armor. A blinding explosion rips through the air. The beast screams, its roar shaking mountains before collapsing in a storm of fire and rubble. The shockwave knocks soldiers to the ground, towers collapsing, the wall trembling under the force. Silence falls once again. Dust chokes the air, the swarm, once unstoppable, falters. Their roars turn to confused cries. One by one, they scatter into the shadows. Their leader gone, their strength broken. The survivors vanish into the darkness, leaving only silence and ruin. The camera lingers on Garin and Lin Mei, standing side by side amid the wreckage. Their bodies are battered, their faces streaked with blood and ash, but their eyes remain unbroken. Behind them, soldiers begin to rise, cheering weakly at first, then louder, until the sound fills the night. Against all odds, they have endured. The music softens, fading into a haunting but hopeful melody. Lin Mei looks out across the horizon, her voice quiet but filled with strength. The wall still stands, and so do we. The screen fades too. Black. A final title card slams onto the screen. Bold and blazing. The Great Wall 2 followed by the release tease. Coming 2025 only in theaters. The last sound is a single war drum, echoing like a heartbeat, then silence.